There was not too much panic in the beginning, but when I came outside and when the fireman told me to go outside, and I went outside and I stood with my children, I looked up and saw the blaze. The blaze, it was red-orange smoke, very hot flames coming out the windows, and the firemen going up the ladders, breaking the windows out and trying to get through that way, and then going up the stairs trying to get through that way. As I said, there was no panic in the beginning, but later on when I began to think, and I said, but for the grace of God, my children could be there right now, because Judy and Joanne were sleeping right next to the wall, within 2 feet of the wall, at the curtains that caught fire. Actually, it was the curtains that caught on fire. I was very, very surprised that they could come here in such a quick time. It must have been 3 minutes before, it seemed like 3 minutes that the phone call went out and the fire department was here. The sirens were going off as the phone call was being made. It seemed that way.
These men are volunteers. They risk their lives and ask nothing in return. They have no scheduled hours, no paychecks. Their only benefit is satisfaction. Their only reward is pride. Through the years, it has been the firefighter who has proven himself time and again when seconds count. One special kind of firefighter is the volunteer. Of the 986 fire departments in the state of New Jersey, over half are volunteer.
Charlie, watch the cars coming out on the left side. 419 to 414 and 415, we have a step man fully involved.
The Secaucus Volunteer Fire Department, like all volunteer fire departments, is comprised of individuals who hold down full-time jobs. They are businessmen, store owners, salesmen, professionals, people from all walks of life, each with a similar interest and shared ideal. Their duties range from containing small brush fires and vehicle fires, such as this one, to protecting high-rise apartment buildings and hospitals, to servicing major roadways, waterways, and byways. They respond to house fires, car accidents, and train derailments as well. Their responsibilities are virtually limitless. is finished, the cleanup is over, and normal life resumes. Secaucus, New Jersey is just across the Hudson River in the shadow of New York City. It is a gateway to the metropolitan area, and therefore the site of great transportational and commercial activity. This is an unusually large responsibility for a volunteer fire department. There is more to watch over than a quiet suburban setting of houses and schools and perhaps a shopping mall. It is for this reason that we choose to focus our attention on the town of Secaucus. Secaucus is separated from the rest of Hudson County by the Hackensack River to the west and 1 mile of meadowland to the east. For all intents and purposes, it is an island, 6.2 square miles in area, with a population of over 14,000 people. However, during the peak hours of the business day, there are over 45,000 additional employees that enter the community. One great responsibility for the fire department is the New Jersey Turnpike, which forms the eastern border of the town. The firemen respond to several accident-related fires on the turnpike each year. They must also concern themselves with the major New York arteries of Conrail and various other rail lines located in the south end. In addition, there are over 700 businesses, corporations, and industries, and more than 75 warehouses in the town. The Harmon Cove Towers, with 1,400 inhabitants, the Hilton Hotel, with 312 rooms, and the Riverside General Hospital are all situated on the banks of the Hackensack River in Secaucus. To the north, Route 3 passes through the main residential area of Secaucus, further complicating the task of firefighting.
How come you joined the fire department?
How come I joined the fire department? Well, from a kid on, I always enjoyed chasing fire engines and putting out fires and saving lives and property. And I think that's quite a thing. I don't think we have too many people around that are civic-minded like that to want to help out anybody, anytime, day, night, no matter what kind of weather we have.
You wonder where you're going to get to when you get there. You don't know what you're going to have. You get there, everything's going. You wonder what you're going to have to do. It's real exciting. I've been there 3.5 years now, and I plan to stay quite a while.
It's a strange feeling when you're on your way to a fire and you're wondering, you know, what's it going to be like, and you're thinking about if there's a life to be saved. That's, you know, the main reason I'm in it. If I can have the excitement of saving a life, that would be a total happiness to me.
It really takes the part of dedication. The point is to get up in the middle of the night, or you're dressed to go out to a special event, to a wedding, or to any place, and to be dressed in good clothes and just to take off. So it takes a lot of dedication to be a fireman. Not just everybody can be a fireman. Just say you want to see the excitement, riding on the fire truck and fighting fires and everything else. It's a dedication to something like that. And when you get up on a Christmas morning, when everybody has their family around the Christmas tree or something like that, and you have to leave and go to a house fire and come home and face something like that. I mean, it takes a lot of dedication, and you have to have a lot of feeling, because you go to these people's homes too. You got to remember, you're trying to protect someone's home, and you try to treat it just as much as your own. And we have, I think, a great bunch of men here. They're well dedicated, and we get great training. We saw these special seminars that we attain go throughout the state at different locations. We have a school in Wayne, New Jersey, North Jersey Volunteer Association. We have training up there. We send all our new men must attend this school if they want to become regular firemen.
We're a volunteer organization. I'm the chief of the school, and I'm in charge of the training. We start off with a 8-week basic course where we take a new fireman or a fireman that has just entered to a fire company and is on a probationary period. Most of your volunteer companies at this point in time or find that men need the training, and they will not let their men off probation until they've completed at least the 8-week indoor basic course, which covers tools and safety, forcible entry, search and rescue, breathing apparatus, and a little bit of basic first aid. The reason for the first aid is that although most squads respond with a fire company, the fireman is the first one in the scene, and if he does find a victim, he has to know what to do and at least provide the immediate treatment before he gets to the first aid squad. The outdoor basic course follows the indoor basic. That's a 7-week course, and we further the information that was given to them in the indoor course, and we actually give them an on-hands type training where they climb ladders, stretch hose lines, and so forth, which is finished up with the final session where they actually get into the building you see behind me. It's a smoke building where they go in and they bring out dummies and stretch hose lines and do everything, and we try and wrap everything up so when the man leaves here, he's got a well-rounded information, and all he needs now is the experience, which he will get back in his own company.
Throw it on the side. Push it.
From April to October, every Sunday morning we run a company into the school on a actual fire situation. We try and make it as realistic as possible. We have fire in the basement area to give us the smoke and the heat, and we put dummies in the building, usually stuffed animals or whatever we can get our hands on, that are thrown out during cleanup week during the course of the year. And we have furniture in the building, we have partitions in the building, and every year we change the petitions because if a company comes down here, they feel pretty confident they can just walk into the building and know where the doors are.
Ken, I'm going to set it down now.
Okay. Hold up, man. Keep going a little. Keep going. You can rotate some. Go ahead. You're doing good.
At the New Jersey Volunteer Firemen's Training School, live subjects are often used to simulate a real-life situation.
When the company rolls in, there's usually an instructor on the outside of the building watching their operation, and we have 2 instructors inside the building watching the search and rescue and the hose lines, communications, and all the things that are necessary to provide a good, safe operation. After the run is complete, we back everybody out, we start all over again, but before we do that, we critique them. And we don't mean to be critical, we don't mean to criticize, but we, as instructors, feel that we have the opportunity to watch the men working, whereas the chief at a department, when he's at an actual fire scene, can't take the time to pick out some of the shortcomings of some of the individuals, or possibly a few errors that they might have made, or something that they might have been able to improve to make a better operation all the way around.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we had a series of instructors were placed throughout the fire ground, observing you as you came in, as you laid the line, as you brought the hose off the truck, your entry into the building, and a number of instructors were within the building observing your forcible entry, your search and rescue, your hose evolutions within the building, your extinguishment, your ventilation, and any other activities which you might have had. I was watching the outdoor portion here. The truck came in, the placement was good, okay? You notice you're not underneath any wires. You're within distance of the building to reach with your lines, but that you're not so close that if something was to fall off, you damage your equipment. On your hydrant, you have a gate. There are two and a half connections on the hydrant. You have a gate on one side. There's nothing on the other side. You've got the hose on the gate. If another truck was to come in to pick up a hydrant, you'd have to shut that hydrant down to hook up. Consider this, putting the gate on one side, your hose on the other side, all right? If another truck comes in, you can grab that gate without shutting that hydrant down. There was no initial check behind that door, and one of the instructors will tell you later what was behind that door all along, okay? There was a victim behind that door which could have been reached right away. As soon as you open that door, someone could have made a quick check and brought that victim out. As far as the indoor operation,
second floor went pretty good. Ventilation off of the fire escape with the hose line was adequate. Search and rescue on the second floor went pretty smoothly. A little more communications maybe between each other, but you got the victims out quickly. Moving up to the third floor was a live victim. Message could have gotten outside a little better. It was kept kind of quiet. You know, nobody yelled out. But other than that, it was quick, stuck together, and went pretty smoothly. Okay.
First floor?
yeah.
The only thing I seen on the first floor was there was no victims on the first floor. They still searched good. They were venting through the window over here on the side, and it was the fog pattern should have been, you know, inside the window instead of like outside the window. It's the only thing I seen that was bad. The rest of it was good.
But overall, I'd say it was a very good evolution. There were a number of victims in there of various shapes and sizes, and all were found with the exception of the one that was right behind the door, which really should have been the easiest.
Want to introduce us to that victim? It was a tiny victim.
Right. Captain?
Yeah. We'll look a little harder next time.
Secaucus Mayor Paul Amico.
We're very fortunate in having 100 of strength in our department, and we're also fortunate in that the members are extremely dedicated. All of them are either homeowners in town or rent payers and longtime residents, and they have a tremendous spirit. And like the rest of our people in town, they're extremely concerned about the municipality. They come out at all hours of the night or day on a moment's notice, and they have the kind of spirit that is very evident when anyone sees them responding to a fire.
My father was a volunteer fireman, and I just never had the desire to be a volunteer fireman. I think the men who are volunteer firemen, whether or not they start when they're 18 or 25, are just simply fantastic. It behooves me to be sitting in church or in the movies and hear the whistle go off and see these fellas jump up and run out, and now they have walkie-talkies that'll tell them where the fire is or when there is a fire, but through the years, and I'm over 40 years old, I just never had that type of ambition. And on Sunday to go down to the fire department house and to clean the engines and to keep the equipment safe, it takes a special type of a person, because also at the same time they have to earn a living to keep their own family going.
Well, I know one day I was parked around here someplace, because I'm new here, and I know there was a fire, and then all of a sudden, out of no place, I just seen doors open up, windows fly open, and everybody on their job. That's all I can tell you, which is true.
Well, every time I hear the whistle, I live right near a firehouse, and every time I hear a whistle, I go down on Center Avenue down there, and I see them go right past. And I guess they get there just in time.
I think the volunteer fire department is very fast, because I once had a fire next door and they got there in no time.
What's it like being married to a fireman? Well, that's a hard question. Well, I tell you, it makes you proud to know your husband can run out the door when those whistles blow. But the only thing is, you know, you pray every day that he does come home with no injuries and he's safe and sound. And the guys who do handle the fire department are very well qualified. They're a very nice bunch of guys.
Can I do it?
Could you do it?
What, put a house fire out? No.
Fire Chief Phil Hansen.
I feel the people in Secaucus, the older residents in particular, really appreciate the volunteer fire department for the job it's done in the past. And in the present, of course. And there are several, I've run into several people who have just recently moved into town from, say, Jersey City or a city where there's been a paint department. And judging from our response time, they feel they're still in the city and they feel there's still a paid fire department. They don't realize that we're as fast as we are. And that's one of the things that makes us as good as we are, is because we are fast. We have a good response and a strong response. And that is probably the two most important things in a fire department.
Any volunteer fire department should have a minimum of 2 pumper trucks and at least 1 aerial vehicle. Of course, the size of the town dictates the amount and type of equipment needed. The town of Secaucus has found the need for 5 pumper trucks distributed to its 5 firehouses.
Okay, this engine here, engine 3, is one of 2 new engines that the town just purchased. It's a 1979 Seagrave engine. It's a low-profile, wide-body cab on it. You can see in comparison to the other engines how squatty the engine is. And it picks up 8 more inches on the overall width of the cab. The engine's a 1,500-gallon pumper. It's capable of pumping 500 gallons a minute. It also has a 500-gallon tank on it to deal with small fires, as rubbish fires or grass fires or small car fires. A little added features we got on it was a 35-foot ladder, which enables us to get around the rear of buildings prior to a truck company arriving. It reduces time that's available to us. We can get it around the back and up to the rear windows on these garden apartments complexes. Another added feature is a staying deck gun on the top, which is capable of delivering 1,000 gallons a minute. It has a task force nozzle on it, which can go from anywhere from 150 gallons a minute to 1,000 gallons a minute at 200 pounds pressure on the engine.
The aerial equipment in Secaucus includes a snorkel truck which can reach the height of 75 feet. In addition, the volunteer firemen use an aerial ladder vehicle which extends to 85 feet. In Secaucus at the present time, fire alarms are first routed through the police station. Dispatcher Stanley Olson explains.
Upon receipt of a call for an alarm of fire, the first action of the dispatcher is to activate the plectron. Depending upon the type of fire, either one or all 5 companies will respond. The dispatcher's first step is again to activate the plectron, which sends a pulse tone to the homes of the individual firemen. Upon completing the plectron, the dispatcher then activates the fire radio on the console, giving a verbal location of the fire to the fire department. The second step for the dispatcher would be to activate the fire sirens, either one company or all 5, whichever the fire calls for. The third step for dispatching apparatus is the firehouse recorders. This device tapes the location of the fire and those companies which will respond and plays back continuously until all apparatus has left the house.
Police Chief Alfred Corman.
I think that the relationship between a fire department and a police department is the same type of relationship, whether it's volunteer or paid. Because at the time of a fire or an emergency, you don't recall or remember or relate to the fact that these people are not being paid X amount of dollars. They're there to do a job. And the only time I think of it as a volunteer association is when I hear the siren go off. And that's the only difference, in my opinion, when between the paid and the volunteer. They still have the same objective, they still have the same goal. And the only difference is that the other people are being paid every week and these people aren't.
The volunteers of Secaucus have another responsibility, which involves their western border, the Hackensack River. 10 or 11 times a year, the rescue unit, equipped with a small boat, is called upon to rescue persons involved in boating accidents on the river. The firemen work in conjunction with the local Coast Guard unit, but the original call for help travels the same route as the fire alarm, to the police station.
Station KDJ 536 to emergency truck 416. 416, you are responding to a report of a boat capsized on the Hackensack River between the Meadowlands Hilton Hotel and Harmon Cove. Report of a boat capsized between the Meadowlands Hilton and Harmon Cove. Respond with your boat for water rescue.
Got it? You go to rope, guys. You go.
hook the gas line up, Bobby. Tommy, hook the gas line up.
Yeah, we'll get it.
All right.
Just make sure that's tight. Got a location on him?
Must be out there, Billy. It's right out there, Bill.
Straight out.
Where the cruiser is. You need anything, give me a call, Ben.
Billy, I'll be communicating you from the truck, okay?
Over here! Over here!
106 to headquarters. Want to send the ambulance to this location? One male, semi-conscious.
Right. Deputy, they're awful slippery. All right. Over there.
Near the side, Billy. All right, go back now. Go back, all right, go back.
Pretty deep over here. Bring the boat right over.
Get that line right here, Tommy. Get a little closer. All right. Yeah, give it to the chief.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah. Put it right around.
Firemen, both volunteer and professional, are not merely firefighters. They are people dedicated to the safety of their neighbors, the protection of property, and the general welfare of their community. They must be prepared to accept almost any responsibility at any hour of the day under any circumstance, 365 days a year. They are truly a special breed when seconds count.
All right, first aid squad's right here.
Lay him right down here.
Lay down.
What happened?
How long was he in for? Anybody know?
How long was he in for? How long was he in for, Tommy? How long was he in there?
Bring that boat in over here,
How long was he in the water? How long was he in the water? Right there? 45 minutes.
I'll get the other boat. You want to bring it in here?
Yeah.
That's just relax. Come on. What's his pulse, you know? Just breathe, come on. Take a few deep breaths, but come on. Feeling better? That's it. Okay.
Focus
About 70? Okay. Okay, just roll inside. All right, just take it easy, pal. Ready to move him out, anything? Yeah. All right. Okay, let's get a few hands here to help us lift, all right? Sure. Got it? Ready? Get the other side. Whoa. Come in over here. In the middle, please. All right. Right on this. I'm in the right way. Got it? Can I move it up? Up. Came up. Take a few more, Chris.